Yes, Ben here with another video, and you're probably thinking it's strange timing for a top 10, and I totally agree with you, but not only have I been doing cleanup on the channel, as you know, there's some unpublished videos I want to put out there as either from the vault or just delete some extra videos, stuff that I never got around to splicing because YouTube took the editor down and I don't have the files anymore. And there's some other stuff that hopefully I'll be doing, also bringing back, not as, filler content, but stuff that just never got out there. Because I realized prior to 31 Days of Mario, I didn't do much at all. And, I recorded a bunch of stuff, and it's like, what happened? But anyway, that's all in the past. And speaking of the past, that's why we're here with the 10 best games of the decade, which again I made as a Facebook post. And that's why, well, I never made a video first. So that's why we're making a video now before this decade finishes and we have to make another video. So these are the best games from 2010 to 2019. So the 10s before unspecified stuff. And I got my cheat sheet here should I need it. But hopefully I remember what to say. Because we're coming in with honorable mention number 1. We got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is fantastic. And until this game came along with the original DLC on the Wii, I should have grabbed that version to show you. But this finally dethroned Mario 64 as the best Mario Kart ever. Just by sheer virtue of its number of tracks. But yeah, and then so it had the 8 original cups. It got 4 DLC cups on the Wii U. And then out of nowhere they decided to release this booster pass. So yeah, there's some little extra content for you guys. And I was complaining about how they're writing articles without being proofread. But this is always on the fly, so what can you do? So yeah, they're adding, they're doubling the number of courses. So that was 48. Now it's going to be 96. And it was Wave 3 with the Christmas track. That was one of my favorites. Or the, I guess, Japanese samurai style track on the first one. The first DLC pass. That was amazing too. But basically, most of the tracks at the end of the day are going to be DLC because 4 times 8 is only 32 on the original base game. And that's just so weird. I'm not saying it's, we shouldn't have had content. But why 5 years after this released, which is like 5 years after, or 3 years after that released, we're getting DLC? It's so weird. Honestly, they could have just done Mario Kart 9. But anyway, Mario Kart 8, fantastic game. Yeah, exactly. We're talking about this decade. This decade, not last decade, not this decade. But yeah, honorable mention goes to Mario Kart 8. Honorable mention number 2, I wouldn't put it in the same level. But for fans of the show, it's funny as hell. This is South Park and the Stick of Truth. Great story, great gameplay. Classic, I guess it would be JRPG is the term du jour, but yeah, it's great. And there are just some scenes that I really can't mention because I don't know if my friends have played it or if that's even safe, because it does say mature, so yeah. Anyway, South Park Stick of Truth, honorable mention number 2. Before we get into our top 10 games of the 10s. Wow. Now, we're going to use our cheat sheet. Right. So, I think Journey got Game of the Year in 2012. And I'm not going to deny it was a fantastic game. But it really did not hold up to, or does not compare to The Walking Dead. This was my Game of the Year. In 2012, yeah, 2012. So I bought. What did I buy? I don't even remember. I played it. I got the platinum. I think I bought this one next, and then this is the collector's edition. So I bought the set with the graphic novel of the comics and everything, which was really hard to find, by the way, because I was late to the party. But I mean, yeah, this is where cel shaded graphics, if done right, can actually be good. The gameplay is pretty simple. There are a few shooting sequences where you need to be accurate or you can't progress with the story. And the choices don't really matter. I mean, it's typical Telltale Games forfeit. Fair. But yeah, this game was great, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun playing it. Obviously, I played it twice. Got all the trophies, got all the achievements, and not difficult to do. They spawned numerous sequels that are still pretty good, not as good as the original game. Siren, hey. But, yeah, so... What else can I say? But now I'm missing something. Oh, yeah, I mean... This was before... they released it episodic style, and I wasn't a fan of that, and just give it to me all at once so I can play it all together. But this Telltale started taking on too many projects at the same time, and they just couldn't keep up. And I guess the revenue wasn't there. And some of their business practices, like Game of Thrones was the first to release with episode 6 as, well, DLC, not DLC, but it wasn't on disc content. And then one of their games was a key disc only, so none of the actual game was there. You had to put it in your system, and then it would actually download all the games from the internet. And I think that scummy business practice with the amount of projects that they were taking on that they couldn't handle anymore, that's what finally led to their demise. And if their remnants, which were bought by some company, if they are making a Bond game, I would totally play that. They did finally manage to finish the final season, so I need to play that. But yeah, Walking Dead 2012. Telltale was top of the world, and that's my number 10 game for the decade. And then I can see my phone right here. Number 9. And we're just gonna check this at Bulbasaur here. Number 9 is Pokemon Go. Did we catch it? Nope. Bastard. Well, it does have a red circle. I don't even know. Did it break out again? Oh. Hey, we caught Bulbasaur. Okay, and it updated 2 research tasks. Anyway, yes. Pokemon Go is... Okay, that's just Pokemon showing up. Oh, hey, a Fomantis. Anyway, Pokemon Go is my number 9 game of the decade. Not because it's actually a good game. As a Pokemon game, it's absolutely terrible. You use candy to evolve the Pokemon. There wasn't any real fighting at the start. And you're just tapping, so... as a Pokemon game, it's shit. But it was an entire phenomenon in 2016, 2015, 2016, and you can't deny that as being one of the most powerful and influential games of the decade. It's got people playing it who don't even play Pokemon, or well, I'm using it in the present tense, but it had people playing it that weren't playing Pokemon, or fans of the G1 series coming back. And they haven't played Nintendo in, years, but they're playing Pokemon Go. And students were playing Pokemon Go in class. You know who you are. And, yeah, so Pokemon Go, number 9 game of the decade. Boom. Moving on to number 8. I'm going to get some heat for this, I know, because I still haven't played it. But, based off of friends' recommendations, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt gets my number 8 game of the decade. Again, what did I say about it at the time? Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's an RPG. So when I actually do play it, I should like it. 100,000 players on the quote recently released Switch port. Okay, so a port that was said to be impossible. And yeah, it's got the Netflix series. That's right. And oh yeah, I go on to talk about how you're either subscribed to Netflix for this or Disney Plus or Deluxe for The Mandalorian, or vice versa. But yeah, when I actually get around to this game, this should be a no-brainer, and that's why it's my number 8 game of the decade, despite having not played it yet. Now, the next game I have played, and this was way back in 2013, Quantic Dreams Beyond Two Souls for the original version for the PS3. I know they re-released it for PS4. But yeah, Ellen Page, Willem Dafoe was fantastic. You can see him on the back there. Graphics, gameplay, and narrative. I'm going to quote myself here. 3 major components of any video game. While people can argue all they want about frame rates and 4K resolution, HD 720p 60 FPS should have been standard across Gen 7. Just as 1080p 60 FPS should have been standard across Gen 8. So yeah, Dance Dance Revolution on the PS2 could pull 60 frames per second. Why the hell was that even a debate in Gen 8? Like, companies need to get their shit together. You know, the graphics are fine. You don't need to turn that up to max and have 30 frames per second because it can't function on the highest resolution because it has to look pretty. The human eye can't see that well anyway. But, yeah, that's why over graphics, narrative and gameplay have become my go-to things. But Beyond Two Souls had it all. They had Fahrenheit in 2005 and then Heavy Rain in 2010. But this became their best game upon release. And I know they've got Detroit Become Human after that, which I haven't played. But I don't want to spoil it. It's so good, but her connection to the supernatural and the story behind that is just amazing. Pick up a PS4 copy. It should play on PS5. And just play Beyond Two Souls. My number 7 game of the decade. Boom. Okay, moving on to number 6. We've got my 2018 game of the year. It is Octopath Traveler, and boom, Primrose is front and center as she should be. Yeah, the sofa is a little bit wonky. But this is fantastic. Square introduced their 2D HD engine, which is basically just a fancy modern way of saying 2D RPG. But yeah, it does look better than Legend of Mana, the one that was on PS2. Not PS2, PlayStation, the original PlayStation. But yeah, it's just the graphics have been, and I just said graphics weren't everything, but they're so improved over the 16-bit era and even the 32-bit era. And it's a return to form. You got your turn-based RPG. You can start off as any one of the 8 main characters, and then you branch out, recruit everyone, and you branch out some more. And the enemies scale to the area, not to your team exactly. Although as you get stronger, you will go out to those areas, and then it will be more of a challenge. And you can also pick up some other classes, or elite classes, I think they're called, after you master everything and do certain tasks. And I knew that was going to happen. I mean, that was fairly obvious, but great game, great story. 8 ways to start playing, although you can do all the quests with everyone, as far as I remember. But yeah, a must buy for any JRPG fan and a must try for everyone else. There it is, Octopath Traveler, my number 6 game of last decade. Boom. Number 5, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell what this is from the Steelbook. The regular thing is in there somewhere, but or the spine there, I don't know. But number 5 goes to Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'll switch card there, and no, I'm not gonna lick it. I didn't say much. This year's Game of the Year, 2019, comes in at number 5, and it's pretty locked into this tier. So it was the next game, this game, Octopath. We're all sort of clumped together. I think I said everything that needs to be said yesterday, barring spoilers. Okay, so, I mean, what do I say that doesn't compare it to Fire Emblem Engage, which I'm actually playing now? Because it is more involved in that game. If you're tired of schools, you might not want to... Or that could be an issue because you're going in as one of the teachers and you talk to other teachers and your students are basically your team who's fighting, and there's 3 houses. I chose Edelgard's Red House for the first playthrough, and then I started the second one with, for the Yellow House with the Archer dude on my Switch Lite, but I didn't get very far in that. And at the same time, they updated it so you could have up to 50 saves. I think there were only 5 or 10 saves during the initial launch. And to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. Games should have unlimited saves, shouldn't they? As long as your hard drive has space. Is that just me, or is that a remnant from even PS2 era where your memory card could have as many saves as it had space for? Anyway, the gameplay, I was not a strategy fan. I played Nobunaga's Ambition for the NES, and then I saw Final Fantasy Tactics for the PS1 after playing Final Fantasy VII. So we have this fantastic all-time GOTY candidate game, followed up by a strategic, slow, kind of boring thing, which is a totally different genre. And yeah, so this was my first real strategy game in about 30 years or something. But the gameplay is great, the story is great. Like we said, we can have up to 4 different aspects of the story. And they had DLC for a 4th hidden house. I think that was the Lone Wolves or whatever, which I also need to play. But yeah, 3 houses, fantastic. And again, this had time to bake in the oven, which is why it's so good. Engage, I think, what was this? This was about summer of 2019, if I recall correctly. Something like that. So that's maybe 3.5 years. Yeah. Anyway, Engage could have used more time in the oven, I think. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but no, 3 houses. If you're gonna play a Fire Emblem game, pick that up for the Switch there. Moving on to number 4. And this one gets the nod. So we got Pokemon Moon here. Don't know where the box is. It's somewhere in the room. We got Pokemon. Wait, what? Oh crap, that's Ultra Sun too. I thought I grabbed. Okay, so there's somewhere. Yeah, Ultra Sun. Had to buy these because I had DLC for one of the shinies. Anyway, but it's good to hunt Pokemon on in either case. What's the point? Yeah, these are standing in for Sun, and I don't know. The original game is the best game. They didn't have to re-release it with the, what are they, quality of life upgrades? They added 100 Pokemon for Ultras, and they added some story nonsense, which really wasn't good in my opinion. So if you're gonna play it, you should play Sun and Moon, the original from 2016. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I said, Three Houses is technically a better game, but this got me back into Pokemon because I had some friends who was like, yeah, we're gonna buy it. And I'm like, okay, let's buy it and play it. And that hadn't happened since Ruby and Sapphire. So I was very excited to play Pokemon once again. And yeah, X and Y, I mean, I had another friend tell me about it. I just really couldn't get into it. I was so burned by Black and White and their story experience system. And yeah, I just didn't like that generation at all. So, oh, that's right, because they started playing Pokemon Go, and I couldn't because I had an older model phone at the time. But yeah, we decided to get the game at the same time. And yeah, playing Pokemon with friends, not just trading with myself to complete the Pokedex. And yeah, I mean, the fair amount of hand-holding and tutorials are annoying. Well, fair amount is annoying, but such is the case with every Pokemon game. Yeah, thanks Game Freak for treating us like idiots every time out. Can you just have like, and even the skip button in Scarlet and Violet doesn't skip that much. It still kind of holds your hand. It's very annoying for the first hour. Yeah, like I said, Rainbow Rocket and stuff should have easily just been DLC for this version. But yeah, the original Sun and Moon, and this got me into shiny hunting because you had the SOS method. So there's less than 10 left. I need 3 Tapus. If anybody wants to help me out, hey, I need 3 Tapus. I need a shiny Zygarde. I'm working on a second type Null, so I can evolve that into Silvally. But I think I'm up to about 293 shinies out of 300 in that game. And of course you cannot get Cosmog or Cosmoem. Not only are they shiny locked, they were never released. But yeah, I almost have a complete shiny dex for Pokemon Sun. Yeah, hey, if anybody can help me out there, let's set up a trade, because I want to get that done. Anyway, Pokemon Sun and Moon, the originals, I guess they would be 2016 Game of the Year, if I were to say that. So, yeah. Number 4 game of the decade. And moving on to top 3. And oh my god, everybody was so hyped for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Switch. And meanwhile, 1 or 2 weeks earlier, the real game of the year of 2017 came out, Horizon Zero Dawn. And I got the complete edition. What did I text someone? It has more narrative in the first, I think 5 would be exaggerating, but in the first 30 minutes than Breath of the Wild had when I played for, what was it, 20 hours or something before I stopped playing. Because we got to another stealth section in the desert with the Gyarados, and I just couldn't be bothered doing the same shit I'd done 20 years earlier in Ocarina of Time. But don't know. I cannot talk about this game without ripping on how bad Breath of the Wild is. Here, you can construct arrows on the fly. There's no stupid cooking. 10 out of 10 PS Lifestyle, 9.5 out of 10 PS Universe, 9.3 IGN, Giant Bomb 5 stars, Nerdist 4.5 out of 5. This is your real game of the year. You're fighting robot freaking dinosaurs. I had another great quote here. When you go toe to toe with a Thunderjaw, like I said, robot Tyrannosaurus, you will know fear. When you plant traps and reprogram a machine to fight for you, you will know subterfuge. And when you get 30 minutes into the game, you will know story. A futuristic dystopia where survival depends on your ability to hunt and survive against robots. This is so far in my wheelhouse, I couldn't imagine a better setting. And I could rank this up there with some of the best Star Trek or Star Wars stories I've read, or the novel Ready Player One. And then I go on to say the movie was a disgrace, because I always have a comment. But yes, Horizon Zero Dawn was my 2017 Game of the Year. It's fantastic. The DLC was good. It didn't have to be there, but it was a good way to continue the story. The free DLC, New Game Plus, and hard mode. That's really the only annoying thing. Only reason I don't have 100% on the game, but I do have the platinum. But yeah, Sony and Guerrilla Games outdid themselves. Of course, they have Forbidden West that came out last year, which I still haven't gotten, because they released DLC for this, and I know they're going to have DLC for that, and I think they even announced it, so I'll be getting the complete edition of that one too. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, fantastic game, must play for the PS4. Surprised they haven't remastered one for the PS5, but I suppose they could just upgrade that via a patch or whatever. Anyway, number 3 game of the decade, and best game of 2017. Boom. Now, wow, we're going all the way back to 2010. We got the best game of that decade, and this is proof that once in a while I do play multiplayer online games, and Halo Reach, it has to be the best game of 2010, hands down. I even like it more than Halo 3, and I know some Halo people are gonna be like, whoa, 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 but it's fantastic. Yeah, it was fantastic. Introduced armor abilities, so you could actually sprint for the first time, which actually became standard in Halo 4 with a button press. But what else? Jetpack was a thing. I beat this Saturday morning. I took a day off of work, or was it just a normal Monday to Friday work schedule? Anyway, I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning and beat the last level, got the Lone Wolf achievement, which is probably still my proudest achievement on Xbox, and the game is just fantastic. The button layout seems a little bit better with the bumper being the melee than Halo 3. Well, I suppose you could remap buttons to your liking, but and it's always different. Always a small challenge going from 3 to Reach, or from Reach to 3, because of the different button layout. But yeah, fantastic story, great lead into the glassing of, I don't even remember what planet that was, but Reach. Duh. Oh yeah, I must be tired, and actually it's time for some pre-workout and a trip to the gym. But anyway, Halo Reach. Oh yeah, and God, we went online, Luke and I and another one of our friends, we went online. It was amazing. I got Xbox Live. I got my Xbox. I ordered the Halo Reach console set because of game night where we were playing Halo 3. And then we could play online, and it was great back in the day. And then Halo 4 dropped, and that game was great, but that had stupid online achievements, which saw my KDR go from plus 1.2 or 1.2, I think it was 1.25. And then you have to stomp 20 people with a mantis, and that saw my KDR go to 0.74. So that was over a 50 point, well, 0.5 swing, not 0.5, yeah, 0.5, and I was pissed, and that was the last straw. I hate online achievements anymore. And will boost them whenever I can, because they shouldn't require you to do anything that you can't do by yourself, right? Unless it's an online only game. But I got all but 3. They were the Defiant Pack achievements, which were sort of shoehorned into stuff on Defiant maps and the original maps, which was not original maps, or yeah, the original maps. It was weird. But yeah, before all of that DLC nonsense, Halo Reach was a fantastic game. The missions were great and a great way to level up. They kind of botched that in, was it Halo 4? And I don't even know what they did for 5 Guardians yet, but Halo Reach, play it, you'll love it. My favorite Halo game, number 2 game of the 10s, and yeah, proof that there was a time I did like multiplayer games. So Halo Reach. And finally, the number 1 game of the decade for 2010 to 2019. You probably know what this is, and you might even be able to read the spine here because it's a slipcover. We have the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and as you can see here, we've got the Elder Scrolls V Legendary Edition here. Of course, it has been re-released for PS3 and Xbox 360. Of course, it has been released again on PS4, PSVR, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, probably even the PS5 and Xbox Series. But this game was fantastic. And of course, some of the Johnny-come-latelys are going to say, well, Skyrim's just like Breath of the Wild. It's like, no, Breath of the Wild is just like Skyrim. This game did it first. This game did it better. And I would go so far as to put this as a top contender for my number 2 game of all time. That's how good this game was. So I played Oblivion for 6 weeks straight, trying to get that finished before this came out on November 11th, 2011. So 11/11/11. And that's a great game. But then Skyrim came out, and it was like, wow, Florida way. You want open world? This is open world right here. College of Winterhold with the Mages Guild or whatever, or equivalent. Dark Brotherhood, always a fantastic storyline. You choose a side in the Civil War, and I think that's part of the reason I wanted to play it twice. Not only to get achievements and 100% or whatever, and maybe a better experience, because this did have some issues with save files and whatnot, and the late DLC. But what was that? Dark Brotherhood questline, great in every game. Collecting Daedric artifacts. You need 15 of those for a trophy or achievement, and one of those, at least one of those, you can mess up, so you might want to use a guide for that portion of the game. But yeah, the Civil War questline I was talking about. Choose either side. Yeah, and just if you want to do the main story, you can do the main story, but it's fantastic. I was blown away at the time. And even the DLC is good. You can choose to be a werewolf or a vampire. Although to get 100%, you'll have to do both. So use your save files appropriately. It's just your Dragonborn, Fusroda, the whole meme, I used to be an adventurer like you till I took an arrow to the knee. I mean, it sort of transcended gaming for a while there. And game of the year, game of the year, game of the year, winner of more than does that say 200? 200 Game of the Year awards. Wow. And well, if you're going to count my retroactive 2011 Game of the Year, then yeah, I would agree with that. Wow, the game's fantastic. It's a must play. It's available on still modern systems. Well, this was a modern system, but current system. So you should, if there isn't a PS5 or Xbox Series version, you definitely can play it on PS4, and you should be able to use backwards compatibility with both of those in any event. So there you go. My game of the decade, 2010 to 2019. Possibly the second best game I've ever played. And you know I'm pretty strict when it comes to ranking stuff like that. But yeah, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. We're still waiting on Elder Scrolls 6. So, but I think we've got Starfall coming out this year to hold us over, if it's not a glitchy mess or whatever. But so that's my list for best games from 2010 to 2019. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Let me know what your favorite games were, because obviously there's 10 years of games and I can't get to everything or play everything or talk about everything. But let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll fix the sofa situation, or maybe just sit up next time, because yeah. Anyway, or maybe just cut that out. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, have a good one.